Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read S6 6058, The Voyage to the Volcano, Chapter 5. After our close call in the crater, the freeze decided we all needed to cool off for a while. She asked Jim to come along with us for a trip to the beach. He brought along snorkeling gear for everybody. Look out at the water, he said. What do you see? Water, Arnold said. Right, Jim said with a grin. But underneath the water is a whole other world. Put on your snorkels and face mask and follow me. Soon we are all floating on our stomachs with our heads down in the water. The snorkels let us breathe while our faces were underwater. Jim was right. It was a whole other world. We could see hundreds of beautiful fish swimming below us. They were striped and spotted in every color and every shape. The ocean floor was covered with beautiful and strange coral formations. I decided right then and there that I was going to be an oceanographer when I grew up, as someone who studies the amazing world of the ocean. Suddenly, we saw a long green shape move toward us in the water. As soon as Jim spotted it, he motioned to us and started swimming to the shore. I didn't waste any time because I knew what was coming might be a moray eel, 6 feet up gross fish. What was that? Arnold asked as we climbed out of the water and took off our snorkeling gear. Arnold, it's better that you don't know, Ralphie said, smiling. Then Miss Frizzle said, let's get inside the magic school bus. There's something I want to show you. We weren't sure what the freeze had in mind, but we all climbed on board. Jim sat beside me in the seat in front. Right behind Miss Frizzle, I thought about what he did for a living and decided that I wanted to be a volcanologist again, rather than an oceanographer. It seems like everything I want to be ends with a grapher or ologist. Miss Frizzle started up the magic school bus and motored on down the beach. Then suddenly she made a hard left turn, straight into the ocean. Stop, Arnold screamed as the magic school bus dove into a huge wave. The water level started to rise around our windows, and fish came up and pressed their faces against the glass to see us. Miss Frizzle, do you know what you're doing? I asked nervously. Don't worry, DA, the freeze said. I have it all under control. A second later, she pressed the red button on the control panel that had a picture of a submarine on it. Here, not a minute too soon, the magic school bus turned into the magic school sub. Soon we were floating out into the deep ocean. Just as we caught our breath, the freeze turned the nose of the sub downward. Where are we going? Carlos yelled. We are heading down to see where the earth is forming a new sea floor, the freeze said. A new floor? Arnold said with a squeal. How does that happen? I know, Tim said. She's talking about tectonic plates. What are plates doing on the ocean floor? Do the fish eat off them? Let me explain, said. He read his report to us. Trembling tectonic plates. Why do some parts of the world have more volcanoes than others? Earth's surface was separated into large pieces of land called tectonic plates. Forces deep within the earth caused these plates to shift, grind against each other, and move apart. Magma from the Earth's core squeezes through the cracks created by shifting plate. Then boom, there's a volcano. While I was impressed by Tim's explanation, now I was really worried about winning the quiz ball. Look, kids, Jim said, there's a black smoker. That means we are close to underwater, a volcanic activity. I know about that. I burst in, eager to show Jim how much I knew about volcanoes. I read my report aloud. Dynamite explanation, Dorothy Ann, Jim said. I threw a glance over at Tim to see if he was impressed, but he was busy reading a book about underwater volcanic activity near the Hawaiian Islands. Oh my gosh, I said aloud. I had almost forgotten about the tiebreaker question. What island is being formed by volcanic activity right now? I ran over to the bookshelf on the subwalls and pulled down a book about underwater volcanoes. I started to speed read like crazy. I couldn't let Tim beat me like this. Suddenly, I saw Tim jump up and run to his backpack. I just knew he had found the answer, but he couldn't find his buzzer. I kept reading, faster and faster, just in time. I found it. I grabbed my buzzer and pressed it. Not again, I yelled. Miss Frizzle asked us to say our answers at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Lo-i-hi, we both said. Another tie. Isn't this exciting, class? You bet it is. My team is going to win. I'll believe that when I see it, Tim said smugly. Okay then, listen up. Miss Frizzle announced. Here is the next tiebreaker question. How long does it take for molten lava to harden? What? Who would know that? Ridiculous. How could we ever find that out? Then Tim and I both grabbed for more research books to see if we could find the answer. As Miss Frizzle guided the sub across the ocean floor, Jim talked to the rest of the kids about underwater volcano. I listened with one ear while I tried to read about how fast lava hardens. So why are there so many hot spots around here? Wanda asked. The water out there looks cold. The water is cold, Jim explained, but under the ocean floor, hot lava is bubbling away trying to get out. That's why this area of the world is called the Ring of Fire. It sounds scary, especially if you live on a little island near a volcanic eruption, Tim added. Maybe it's scary if you're in a little yellow submarine too. Arnold in a quiet voice, the Ring of Fire circles the edges of the continents and islands around the Pacific Ocean. It contains 500 or more active volcanoes. Some eruptions in the Ring of Fire have been incredibly violent and killed many people. Other eruptions are quiet and have slow lava flows, like many of the ones in Hawaii. Don't worry, Arnold, I said. I'm sure Miss Frizzle wouldn't take us anywhere near the Ring of Fire. Just then, there was a rumble from the sea floor below us. I don't know about that, Jim said. I think we may have wandered near some hot spot. A louder rumble spread across the ocean floor, shook the windows of the sub. We all looked at one another with wide eyes. Then there was a loud boom. Began to bounce around in the water like a yellow rubber dog. Chapter 6. Miss Frizzle, I yelled, you got to do something. I was hanging on to the sides of the magic school sub to keep from sliding across the floor. The rest of the kids were holding on to anything that seemed solid. Everybody was screaming. Yikes, this is worse than that ride we took through a tornado, Wanda said. It's even worse than traveling back to the Jurassic Age, Ralph yelled. I think we are goners. Don't say that, I cried. I still need a chance to win the quiz ball. Jim was hanging on to part of the sub's control panel, where the freeze was desperately trying to get us away from the volcano's eruption. It didn't seem to be working. I don't think we can outrun this, Miss Frizzle, Jim said. An underwater eruption is pretty wild. We better just hold on tight and try to ride it out. There she blows, underwater eruption. All of a sudden, the rumbling beneath us got louder. It reminded me of what I had read about Krakatoa, another volcano in the Ring of Fire. Only I hoped we weren't in for that big of a bloom. Jim, what's that noise? I called. Krakatoa. Krakatoa, the volcano heard halfway around the world. Krakatoa is a small volcanic island in the South Pacific. In 1883, the island made an ear-splitting eruption. It was so loud that people more than 3,000 miles away heard the roar. For the next 2 years, the volcanic dust filled the air in places as far away as London. It sounds like a major vent is blowing. Jim answered, trying to sound calm, but this was way too hard for even a volcanologist to handle. All of a sudden, Magic School sub seemed to go airborne. We squirted up out of the water on a plume of steam, and outside the window, we saw blue sky instead of blue water. But it didn't stay blue for long. Soon there was volcanic ash floating around everywhere. It was awesome. I wished I had my camera. Here we were in the middle of a volcanic eruption, and I had no way of recording it. Wow, Carlos yelled. I think somebody just hit the down button. Carlos was right. Suddenly, we started to fall out of the sky like a brick. Submarines, even Magic School submarines, just don't fly. Kersplash! We hit the water with a smack and bobbed up and down for a while. Miss Frizzle was busy at the controls, trying to figure out how to get the sub in reverse and away from the volcano. That's when I looked out the sub window. Tip of a new volcanic island was sticking up above the ocean surface, and red-hot lava was belching out of its mouth. Miss Frizzle, I yelled, throw it in reverse, fast. The freeze was fast, but not fast enough. Just as the Magic School sub started to shoot backward, a fiery spray of lava splattered down on top of us. It turned the sub on its end, with its nose sticking up into the air. Then the lava settled all around us, and everything went black outside. What will we do? Arnold cried. When that lava hardens, we'll be part of a volcano forever. DA and Tim, Carlos said, you better figure out the tiebreaker question quick. The end.